Have you ever paused to think about the silent choices you make every single day? The ones so small, yet so powerful, that they shape the very essence of your life, without you even realizing it? One of the most overlooked and often underestimated choices revolves around something as simple as water, the very fluid that sustains life. It may seem ordinary, unremarkable, but for those living with chronic kidney disease, this element becomes a mirror reflecting the balance of health, discipline, and awareness in one's existence. Every sip you take, every drop you withhold, carries a weight far beyond the immediate sensation of thirst or quenching. The truth is that our bodies, with their delicate intricacies and precise mechanisms, speak to us constantly, yet we rarely pause to listen. The kidneys, often taken for granted, silently regulate the fluids that course through our veins, orchestrating a symphony of balance that keeps us alive, vibrant, and functioning. Yet, when disease interrupts this delicate rhythm, even the simplest act of drinking water can become a philosophical lesson in moderation, patience, and self-awareness. We stand at a crossroads every day, to heed our body's subtle cues or to ignore them, risking swelling, dehydration, and further complications. Fluid intake is not just a medical concern. It is a metaphor for life itself, where excess and deficiency walk a narrow tightrope that demands mindfulness. It is in this quiet tension that we discover resilience, discipline, and the extraordinary power of awareness. You may have heard countless opinions from friends, family, and even healthcare professionals, each offering guidance that can seem contradictory. Some say drink more, others caution restraint. In this cacophony of advice, confusion naturally arises, and with it comes anxiety, fear, and hesitation. But within this uncertainty lies an opportunity, an invitation to understand your own body, to cultivate a deeper connection with its rhythms, and to embrace the responsibility of self-care with intentionality. Just as Dr. Mathew R. Weir emphasizes in his teachings, knowledge alone is not sufficient. It must be paired with awareness, reflection, and deliberate action. By understanding how your body responds to fluid, recognizing the signs of imbalance, and adapting to the unique demands of your condition, you step into a space of empowerment, where choices become deliberate rather than reactionary. Imagine each decision to drink or pause as a brushstroke on the canvas of your health, contributing to the masterpiece of your life. Every ounce matters. Every moment matters. And though it may seem mundane, the act of hydrating, of respecting your body's signals, becomes a daily meditation, a philosophical practice in honoring life's fragility and strength. In this journey, it is not only about survival, it is about reclaiming agency over your health, recognizing the profound interplay between what you consume and the life that flows within you. The lessons extend far beyond the kidneys. They ripple into patience, discipline, and the mindfulness that transforms ordinary moments into powerful opportunities for growth. Understanding fluid intake, therefore, becomes more than a practical guideline. It becomes a spiritual and philosophical endeavor, a reminder that life thrives in balance, in conscious choices, and in the courage to act with knowledge and intention. And as we continue this journey together, the question arises, are you merely drinking water? Or are you drinking with awareness, respect, and insight into the magnificent machinery that sustains your life? As we move deeper into understanding the seemingly simple yet profoundly significant act of drinking water, it becomes clear that awareness is not just a habit, but a form of empowerment. Every person with chronic kidney disease faces a silent challenge, a delicate balancing act that can feel invisible to the outside world, but is intensely present within. The body speaks in whispers, a slight swelling in the ankles, a fleeting sense of fatigue, a subtle dryness in the mouth, or the faint pull of thirst that tells you there is more to consider than what meets the eye. It is here, in these small signals, that life presents a test of patience, reflection, and knowledge. Too often, we take for granted that all fluids are created equal, that quantity alone is the measure of well-being. But those who have observed, studied, and guided patients with precision, like Dr. Mathew R. Weir, remind us that the nature of the intake, its timing, and the condition of the body at the moment are equally important. Hydration, in this sense, is a science and an art. It requires attentiveness to the stage of disease, the medications in use, blood pressure fluctuations, and even the emotional state that influences bodily responses. And yet, even with all this knowledge, there exists a deeper tension, a suspenseful uncertainty that cannot be ignored. What if the very thing meant to sustain life, water, becomes a silent agent of harm? The possibility is real. Too much fluid can swell the body, compress the heart, and strain the fragile kidneys, while too little can dehydrate, weaken, and disturb the delicate equilibrium that keeps the body functioning. In that space between excess and scarcity lies a profound question. How can one truly know the right measure without vigilant observation and the courage to act consciously? It is a question that demands humility, for it reminds us that the body is both wise and vulnerable, capable of resilience yet requiring respect. This is where the suspense of everyday life converges with the philosophical. One cannot simply follow rules blindly. One must cultivate insight, recognize patterns, and engage with each decision as if it were sacred. Imagine the tension of walking a tightrope suspended between two cliffs, one of overindulgence and the other of neglect. Each step requires attention, balance, and the willingness to adjust as conditions shift. In those moments, life's fragility becomes tangible, teaching lessons not just about hydration, but about vigilance, self-awareness, and responsibility. Dr. Mathew R. Weir often emphasizes that the greatest transformation arises when knowledge meets conscious practice. Understanding fluid intake is not merely about numbers or schedules. It is about listening, learning, and responding to your body in a way that honors both its limitations and its strength. In this space of attentive action, ordinary decisions take on extraordinary significance. Drinking water is no longer mundane. It is a deliberate engagement with life itself. You begin to see the beauty in restraint, the power in patience, and the wisdom in adapting to changing circumstances. As suspense gives way to clarity, the path forward emerges. Observe the subtle cues, recognize the signs of imbalance, and act with precision and confidence. Each choice reinforces resilience, instills confidence, and deepens the connection between body and mind. It is a practice that extends far beyond kidney health, offering insight into the broader rhythms of life. Every act of measured intake becomes a meditation, a reminder that life is sustained not by excess nor by scarcity, but by the harmony of balance and awareness. And when you embrace this truth, each sip becomes more than hydration. It becomes an affirmation of life, a conscious step toward well-being, and a testament to the profound wisdom that comes from listening to the silent language of your own body. It is in this ongoing journey, where uncertainty once loomed like a shadow, that clarity begins to illuminate the choices you make every day. The suspense resolves not in luck or chance, but in the deliberate, mindful, and empowered actions you take to honor your body and your life. As we arrive at the final contemplation of this journey, it is vital to recognize that life, much like the act of drinking water for those with chronic kidney disease, is a series of deliberate choices that ripple through our existence in ways both seen and unseen. Each moment presents a chance to act with awareness, to transform the mundane into the meaningful, and to embrace responsibility as a pathway to empowerment. When we consider fluid intake, it is easy to reduce it to numbers, measurements, or rigid schedules. But such reductionism overlooks the profound lesson hidden in this simple act: that life flourishes in balance, mindfulness, and attentiveness. The very kidneys that quietly orchestrate the equilibrium of fluids within our bodies serve as a metaphor for the human spirit. They remind us that the most vital systems often work unseen, that strength is frequently quiet, and that health, both physical and mental, requires constant attention, reflection, and adjustment. To navigate these waters successfully, one must cultivate the skill of observation, learning to interpret subtle signals before they escalate into crises. Swelling in the limbs, subtle fatigue, changes in urination, or even the sensation of thirst can all serve as gentle teachers, guiding us toward the understanding that moderation is not limitation, but liberation. It is here that the teachings of Dr. Mathew R. Weir resonate most deeply, offering insight that extends far beyond physiology. He reminds us that true mastery arises when knowledge, awareness, and conscious action intersect. In the context of fluid management, this means observing the self without judgment, responding without fear, and making decisions informed not solely by rules, but by intimate understanding of the body's rhythms. The philosophy is simple yet profound. Life thrives not when we overindulge, nor when we deprive ourselves, but when we honor the natural cadence of our existence and act in harmony with it. This principle applies not only to hydration, but to every aspect of living: how we handle challenges, how we manage emotions, how we pursue growth, and how we nurture connections with others. Each choice, like each sip of water, carries weight, significance, and consequence. And as you embrace this awareness, you begin to notice the extraordinary in the ordinary. The act of drinking, which may have seemed trivial, becomes a daily meditation, an affirmation of life, and a conscious participation in the miracle of your own existence. You learn to appreciate that discipline is not a limitation, but a pathway to freedom, that restraint is not denial, but empowerment, and that mindfulness transforms routine actions into opportunities for reflection, gratitude, and self-care. The suspense of uncertainty that once surrounded fluid intake, the silent anxiety of whether too much or too little might harm you, gradually transforms into clarity, confidence, and a sense of mastery over your health. This journey teaches patience, resilience, and the profound truth that empowerment is cultivated in the moments when you act with intention rather than impulse. And while this may begin with hydration and kidney health, the lessons extend infinitely, echoing into every choice, every relationship, and every challenge you encounter. Each decision becomes a statement of self-respect, each action a demonstration of care for the life entrusted to you. Dr. Mathew R. Weir emphasizes that the greatest insights often emerge not from external instruction alone, but from the conscious engagement of the individual with their own body, mind, and spirit. By observing, reflecting, and acting thoughtfully, we honor both the fragility and the strength that coexist within us. And so, the journey comes full circle, from uncertainty to understanding, from passive compliance to mindful empowerment, from fear of imbalance to the grace of harmony. Hydration, once a routine necessity, transforms into a symbol of life's delicate equilibrium, a reminder that attention, intention, and awareness are the forces that sustain us. Each choice to drink with mindfulness becomes an affirmation of your commitment to health, resilience, and the pursuit of wisdom. Life, like water, flows in patterns that demand respect, adaptation, and presence. And when you embrace this understanding, you not only nurture your kidneys, but cultivate a philosophy of life rooted in balance, consciousness, and deliberate action. Remember, the pursuit of health is inseparable from the pursuit of awareness, and every small, intentional choice compounds into lasting transformation. If you're benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.